courtroom, it's a circus. Homie got the lions, prosecutors crooked, messy in the frying. Innocent rappers, their tears like diamonds. Truth gets twisted, just like the Mayans. Panel keeps the real, drop knowledge bombs. Corruption on blast like Vietnam songs. Free the innocent, then commit the crimes. Justice served hot, rhythm and rhyme. Show it survive, justice goes live. We spotlight on the truth, we cut through the lies. Corrupt gotta run, we see through the skies. For the innocent rappers, we rise. We rise.
Hey, folks! It is Friday, and it's 6 p.m. And if you haven't heard anything else, 6 p.m. is always the start time of Friday panel show. As of the moment, it's a panel of one. Kat will be a little late, she said. Empress Fox is rushing home and will be a little late. And the third confirmed guest might also be 15 minutes late. So as of now, it's just me. Hello, folks. And thank you for joining. Now, subject. I will say this once, and so I don't have to say it again. The KB, SB topic, not on this show. Okay? Not on this show. If you can't handle that, well, that's on you. Nick, for Christmas, have you thought about giving out watches? I thought about it, but I called the DA's office, but they had none to spare. Yeah, for you who watched the stream 2 days ago, you know the KB business. So none of that today. All right. But one subject we have to discuss is this one. The 4-car problem, which this guy here, Bad Santa Cowboy, testified to under oath in court that he only saw the supposed Shannon car, the Audi, and the Ford Fusion, and as he explained, a third car who made a U-turn. Now we know that's not true. That was a complete falsity. Where is our fearless leader? Our fearless leader is asleep in the bedroom at the moment. So let's listen to a few questions from Mr. Shard before we watch that video.
I think it's fair to say you saw a car making a U-turn on the video and you saw it was a little odd.
Yes.
It piqued your interest?
Well, it just, yeah, it did. I wouldn't say it piqued my interest. It just went with the situation, I guess.
I think you said you thought on direct, you testified, you thought that the person driving that car may have heard or seen something, correct?
Yes, I did.
And the reason you say that is because that person driving that car abruptly made a U-turn.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was his testimony. Oh, here's Brandon. Brandon, let's go. We can talk about Peanut the squirrel, right? Yep, sure we can. Precious Peanut, who was snatched up by the 12 feds one morning for playing a simple game of 60. Yeah, poor Peanut. Poor Peanut the squirrel. And Frank the raccoon. Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about it later in this stream. We can do that. All right. Thank you for your support, Brandon.
I'm ready when you are. It's not ready.
Oh, I'm sorry. If we could go to 101:20, yeah, just.
That's the supposed red car. Following up with
That's Mr.
supposed white Audi.
That's red Versa, pulling up, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that would be the white Audi,
Yes.
Followed by the white.
and that would
Focus.
be the white Fusion pulling up on the right lane, correct?
That's correct.
Now, remember, according to Bad Santa Cowboy Cop, the only other car he saw was a car making a U-turn. Let's see if that is correct. And there is, wait a minute, that's a third car. Speed, I mean, with quite a good speed towards these three cars who are waiting for the stoplight to turn green. Isn't that strange? He's not making a U-turn. You see, Bad Santa Cowboy Cop?
That's not the car that makes the U-turn, is it?
And as soon as that car speeds up behind, Audi takes off, Ford takes off in two different directions.
No, sir, I don't believe so.
Okay. And Mr. Stillwell is now running the light. He's no longer there, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Wait, what happened there? Let's check. What was that like? Well, there comes the U-turn car. But I thought Bad Santa Cowboy Cop said there was only three cars besides. But here we see a third car is beside the red car for much longer. And we see some weird lights coming from that car as the fourth car make a sudden U-turn. According to the state, he U-turned while the Audi and the Fusion was up there, but they are long gone. Isn't that strange? And then take a close look now at the red car. I will go back a few seconds. Watch the brake lights. Off and on and on. Off, on. But I thought that the medical examiner testified to once, since it was instant end, then his foot would have been always pressed on the brake. So why is his brake lights going off and then on again when the third car is beside it? Let's go back again. Let's see here. When does the car actually make a U-turn? Remember, Shannon's supposed car and the Ford Fusion, long gone by now. There, he makes a U-turn. And as you see, look up again on the red car, who, according to the state, that guy is already dead. Look up. That's the brake lights off. Isn't that strange? And with that, this car makes the U-turn. And speeds off. And brake lights off and on again. Off, on. And now that car takes off. Let's do that again now with Shard's sound. With sound on. According to Bad Santa Cowboy Cop, it's Shannon who does it. How does that go together? It doesn't. It doesn't. But before that, thank you to Iron Rabbit for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much, bringing us to new members 5 for this Friday panel show live stream. You're very nice. And for you who was gifted, please say thank you to Iron Rabbit. And now you have access to all the members only perks. All the members only things on my channel, plus Discord. All right, now let's watch this again, now with Mr. Shard asking questions.
20, yeah, just.
I'm ready when you are. It's not me. I'm ready.
Oh, I'm sorry. If we could go to 101:20, yeah, just.
That's the red car.
That's that's red Versa pulling up, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that would be the white Audi.
Yes.
And that would be the white Fusion pulling up on the right lane, correct?
That's correct.
That's not the car that makes the U-turn, is it?
No, sir, I don't believe so.
Okay.
No, sir, I don't believe so. Well, why did you testify to that? You said you have watched this video a number of times, and you testified to it on direct examination.
And Mr. Stillwell is now running the light. He's no longer there, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. We see now this car pulls up and makes that interesting U-turn, correct?
Yes, sir.
And your determination is maybe they did that because they might have seen or heard something, correct?
Maybe.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Here, I wish Mr. Shard hammered it in. He chose not to. I assume that he has saved the rest for his case in chief. Jonsi, is the door on the red car open? I can't see that. Now, let's go back. I want you to look at the right-hand side. Here is the just into picture, just a shadow is a person. That person should have heard this as well. See, walking here, where my marker is, if you see it. And there, U-turn. That guy, who's that? Wouldn't a competent investigator check, okay, that car who made the U-turn, who has that car? Who is the guy who walks there? Are they caught on any other cameras? But no, this bad Santa cowboy cop never bothered. He missed that there was a third car. He missed that one. He did absolutely nothing to find these supposed witnesses. He did absolutely nothing to find the car that actually stopped by. Nothing. That is tunnel vision, ladies and gentlemen. That is tunnel vision in the shape of a toilet roll. Because this investigator is shit. There should, as Gwendolyn says, there are cameras at the lights. There should be. Don't know if it were. Is that Bigfoot? No, thank you, Tracy. No, Bigfoot isn't there. Bigfoot is at, we found Bigfoot, by the way. We found Bigfoot. I will show you in a second here. I have to go back to another piece of video. Let me just find it first. Now here is it. This was also presented in court. Now, it was only for a frame, but watch carefully. Watch real carefully. Because in just one frame, it's Sasquatch in a white car. It's Sasquatch in a white car. And we all saw it. All right. Enough joking. I have my first guest here. Everybody say hi to Doug Weinstein.
Hello there. How are you?
Hey. Oh,
Am I allowed to have a beer on your show?
You are absolutely allowed to have a beer on my show. As a matter of fact, I'm having one myself.
Excellent. Okay. I wasn't sure.
Oh, your camera went out. Doug, come back. Oh, Doug, your camera went out. Your phone went out. Oh, come back.
Okay, I'm sorry. Am I back
No more.
on? No more beer on your show. See what happens? I hit the wrong button.
Oh,
Oh well.
oh
But
well.
how are you doing? How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing excellent, I must say. I mean, it's been a hell of a week, and especially Mac's cross-examination, pointing out to Bad Santa Cowboy Cop. Did you actually see what you testified to?
You're talking about President N. Yeah, you're talking about that detective. Did I see his testimony? I was there in the courtroom, so I
Yeah,
saw it.
yeah, but the Bad Santa Cowboy Cop testified about 3 cars and 1 U-turn. I think he missed a car.
Well, you know, I have to tell all your viewers, I know that I appreciate all of their inputs as to what they saw in the video. And it's great that they're contacting me with that and that they're so invested and that they love the case. But I think they should all remember that we've had this video for, I'm going to guess, 2 years.
Yeah,
Somewhere close to 2, maybe even more than 2 years. But we've had it probably for 2 years. I've seen the video,
yeah.
I don't know, 20 times.
Mm.
I'm sure that Max Shart has seen the video. Knowing Max,
Oh,
he's probably seen it hundreds of times.
yeah, backwards and
So
forwards. Yeah,
Max is well aware of what is in that video.
yeah,
Max has missed nothing.
yeah.
If I was the famous Alabama coach that just left Alabama, what's his name? The Alabama football coach. Anyway, he always said, trust the process.
Yeah.
Trust the process.
Yeah.
So I would ask everybody to trust the process, that Max has a reason for each and every question that he asks.
Yeah.
And he has a reason for each and every question that he does not ask.
Yeah.
But there's one thing I can guarantee you about Max. Max has missed, Nick Saban is the coach. Max has missed nothing.
Yeah. And
so everyone can de-stress about that.
Yeah. I've been telling my viewers, I might not agree with not asking those 2 extra questions on his cross-examination, but I'm not there. I'm not Max. If Max doesn't ask those extra questions, it's because he has a reason to it. And without asking the question to you or Max, my assumption is if this goes to a defense case in chief, we will hear more.
Well, I'll say it again. I'm not here to disclose Max's playbook or my playbook, but trust the process.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. And trust the players. And Max is excellent, so you can put full trust in Max to take care of everything.
Yeah. But did you see? Well, we had this other video, and I slowed it down severely, frame by frame. And I saw something the prosecution didn't. It's Sasquatch in a white car.
Is it sneaky Sasquatch? Because my son loves that game.
Yes, it's sneaky Sasquatch.
Okay.
Well, technically, since it's a white Sasquatch, it's a Yeti.
Oh, okay. So you see a Sasquatch. Does a Sasquatch have an opposable thumb?
I don't know, but he's about to get into a white car. So I assume he can drive. I think it's a shift gear.
Okay. Well, if it is a Sasquatch, we're going to assume they have an opposable thumb. I have to say this too. I have to give a caveat. I really don't want to mock the murder of Mr. Drinks.
No,
I think
absolutely not.
I think it's a terrible thing. But here you have another situation where law enforcement, followed by the prosecution, has arrested and are prosecuting the wrong man. So I feel for the Drinks family,
Mm.
as I feel for any family who has suffered
Yeah.
crime, whether it be violent or non-violent, but particularly violent
Mm.
crime, particularly where you've had a loved one taken away. It's a horrible thing to happen. I know that they want justice just as much as we want justice.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that convicting Shannon Stillwell for the murder of Mr. Drinks is justice.
Absolutely not. And no, just clarification, I am not in any way, shape, or form mocking the Drinks family. I'm mocking the prosecution.
I understand.
Yeah.
I do understand that.
Yeah.
I want to make sure people understand that when I made that responded to your Sasquatch, I mean, you know how lawyers are.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like one of the less cautious lawyers because I'm appearing on your show. You would never see Brian Steele or Keith Adams appearing on your show while they're still at trial. I try to make sure I follow my ethical obligations while also following my obligations to my client who can't afford to hire a PR team to advocate in public for his innocence.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's why I dropped that little caveat in there.
Yeah. And speaking of dropping a caveat, we have another next guest on the show for the second time. It's Empress Fox.
Hello.
Hey, my favorite Republican, or maybe my fifth favorite Republican. How was that?
So listen, Doug, I'm not a Republican. That's the funny part.
Okay, my fifth favorite Trump voter.
There you go.
Cheers to you, Empress Fox. You see how, folks, this is what I'm always preaching. We can be respectful to each other, even though we can have disagreements on who we vote for. Right, Empress Fox?
Absolutely. And I can say I did enjoy seeing your comments the first thing. As soon as I opened my eyes, maybe I shouldn't be on mine the first thing when I opened my eyes. But
you didn't say anything wrong. You didn't say anything wrong.
It was the other
You didn't say
people,
anything wrong. No, nothing wrong. It's all seriously. I'm not just being nice.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And I say, as Rick Hogue, reasonable minds can differ, and there's nothing wrong with it. And we do. I mean, lawyers can, in private, lawyers can be extremely friendly with each other, but in the courtroom and as when I meet opposing party, we take good chunks out of each other. But that's in the courtroom. We both know our roles.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And as in private life as well. Now, I don't vote in the US elections for obvious reasons. Had I voted, I don't know what I would have voted. But that doesn't define people.
It doesn't.
Well,
We are so much more than once a fourth-year vote.
You know, as a Democrat, I'm all for illegal aliens and foreigners voting in our election as long as you vote Democrat. And as they say in Chicago, vote early, vote often.
Oh,
so I am going to say this real quick, and then I'm going to let Empress Fox talk because she just came on and I'm over here hogging the microphone. But it's because of something you said about lawyers fight in the courtroom, but we can be cordial outside. If those watching court today know when court ended, we had to get together to go through the exhibits and organize them. So when court ended today, myself, Max Sharks, Simone Hilton, Adam Abate, we all sat in there for I don't know how long. They may still be there. I left for an hour plus, hour and a half. And we were very friendly, very cordial, very collegial going through those exhibits. And when Tuesday comes around and the judge takes the bench, we'll fight again. And that's the way it should be. And if those guys were running this case from day one, we'd have been over 6 months ago.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, I gave my love for love speech a couple of days ago on stream. I will not repeat it because Doug is here. But, well, something of the effect of thank you for ruining the case for the state. More or less.
I will reserve my comment on that until the case is over.
Yeah. Yeah, we are still not. And for my viewers, I made a promise in June of last year, I will follow this case from gavel to gavel. That includes the 12 guys who are still rotting in jail, awaiting this trial to end so theirs can start.
Thank you.
Now, hi, Empress.
Hello, and I want to say hello to everybody in your chat. I see all the messages, so hello, everybody.
Ooh. And
Did I
Kat
just
is here.
disappear?
No,
Here?
we are all here. We are all
Okay.
here on stream. Uh,
Excellent.
yeah. Now, Empress Fox, besides elections, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Well, I'll say since the protest, things have gotten like, I won't use the word hectic because that's a terrible word, but things have gotten busy. And I've been able to talk with so many different people about their cases and just a lot of different things I was not expecting. I was expecting, do the protest and go back to my life, and that's just not what's happening. And like I said previously on Twitter or X, is that sometimes you think you have time to still move around, but when God says move, you move. So whatever my purpose is, I kind of see it, and so I'm going to keep at that. And I've been talking to actually a couple of the former defendants, trying to help them with their current situation. So I'll leave it at that. So I can say further things or whatever. Like I said, I'm getting used to this whole live thing, so bear with me. I'm quite nervous. I know people are like, well, you're a music artist. Da, da, da. I'm still nervous. I have a lot of nerves, so forgive me if I don't have a lot to say, but I do want to say there will be another protest coming up on the 21st, which I just found out recently is actually Yak Gotti's birthday. So it'll be a birthday celebration and a protest. So if you guys want to come down to Atlanta, please do that. I will be there pretty much all that week leading up to it. I just feel like I see the case, like Doug said, that if this current team was here before, the case may have been over. But I see the end of the world, and I pray that it ends in a not guilty verdict. I hope that the jury can see what everybody else sees, even though we see a little bit more than they do. I do see things going great. So, yeah.
And especially after that, your email to the judge, that was interesting. And but
Oh no, he said juror.
Juror.
Email to the
yeah, the juror email. Yeah.
I was like, I'm not.
No, the juror email was really interesting to hear. Now, he backpedaled a little bit once he got in front of George Whitaker, but I assume that, yeah.
I think the
who wouldn't?
Oh, I'll disagree about the backpedaling. Do you think he backpedaled, Empress?
I was just about to say, I don't think he backpedaled. I think he was more so, a lot of people, when you get in front of the judge or in a court, even though you're a juror, you feel like you have an obligatory duty. And I felt like the judge tried to ease his worry, but I honestly feel like he may have been speaking for everybody and not just himself. That's my personal opinion, because who's not tired, right? After a year and a half, because they sat on the 1st, if I'm not mistaken, November 1st. So they've been doing this for quite some time. And the way that the state is presenting their case, even, when the juror said that, I was like, well, I think he's speaking for the world right now watching. So I don't think that he backpedaled. I think he more so was just like, she asked, could he continue? And he said, yeah.
Yeah. And now George Whitaker said that, now, backpedaling, I mean, went more careful with his words, because his email were more frank, in my personal opinion. But
Okay.
I bow for the majority.
I think he was trying to be correct in a sense. Again, now you're in the courtroom. You're not at home typing or how you feel, so you have to have some decorum. I think that's what it was. It was added decorum.
Yeah. Well, he said 2 things in his email to the judge, and I think they were consistent with what he said in court. The first thing he said was, I miss my job. I've been on this case a long time. I want to go back to work. And the judge's response to him was, it'll be over by the end of the year. Can you make it through the end of the year? And he said, yes. So I don't think that was inconsistent. And in his email, he said, because of what the prosecution has done, I'm biased against the decision.
Mm.
I don't quite know what that means, but the judge asked him, based on what, can you make a decision based on what you've seen in the courtroom? I think she asked him that.
Mm.
Tell me if I'm wrong, Empress. Isn't that what she asked him?
Yep.
And he said that he could, which is all that's required of a juror.
Mm.
If they develop in the course of a trial certain views on one side or the other, because a lot of this is a credibility contest between the state and the defense,
Mm.
which is what I always see things as. If he's developed that, but he's developed that during the course of trial and was unbiased going in, then he
Mm.
can develop views. And
Mm.
the judge told the prosecutors that. So anyway, I think he was consistent.
What
And
about because there was 2 jurors that have, I guess, slight issues. Like, what do you guys think about that? Well, Nick, because I know Doug may not be able to speak on that, but the fact that the woman that's had, I guess, her boss asked her a question. Do you
Oh.
think that this compromises the outcome?
do I think that? I'm now answer that. Nick can answer that too. I mean,
Right.
I don't think it jeopardizes the outcome because apparently the boss did not pass on any details regarding what happened to the other defendants. There is an argument to be made that if he would have passed on details, like these guys all pled out and pled guilty or nolo to a number of their charges, that theoretically could have a negative impact on the remaining defendants.
Right.
I'm not particularly worried about that happening.
What about you?
Oh, do I think both jurors in some way, shape, or form have made up their mind? Yes,
Okay.
but the neutral, how they were very neutral in their language. Now, I can be extremely wrong. I am sometimes. Once a decade, I'm actually wrong on something, and but would I bet money on it? No.
Hmm.
Well, look, they have heard 90 to 95% of the state's case.
Mm.
So it is not surprising that they are certainly developing leanings or
Mhm.
maybe even kind of have thoughts as to what's going on. But as long as they don't deliberate amongst themselves and discuss the case amongst themselves, the jurors, as any human, I think the law recognizes you're going to start to think, oh, it might be a certain way in your head.
Mhm.
But as long as they don't deliberate until the judge tells them it's time to do that, it's fine.
Mm. Yeah, I mean,
That was my worry, is the fact that I felt like they may have been compromised, and I didn't know, like you said, I didn't know that could go one way either. So
Yeah.
I would be more worried if that juror whose boss called hadn't contacted the court. I believe just the act of contacting the court tells me that juror has the integrity to not let outside interference sway her.
right.
Well, they have been told before they were seated on the jury that their decision, and they're actually they've been told several times, their decision has to be made on the evidence that's presented to them in court, not any outside factors. That's why, for example, Judge Glanville would always tell them, you can't drive by the scenes of any of these crimes. You can't do independent investigation. But if they learn something outside of court, but they don't use that in the course of coming to their decision, I mean, I think that's probably okay. They can't actively seek that out, but it's pretty hard to not, stumble across stuff in a case of this notoriety. So, and I'm working right now, and I think you've heard the judge say this, I'm working on the jury instructions that we're going to use and give to the jurors at the end. And that's one of the instructions. You have to decide this based on what you hear in this courtroom. Jurors in the US are pretty, what do I want to say? They're pretty good about following the instructions of the court. And you see that, I don't know if you followed other cases before this, Empress, but I know, I'm sure, Nick, you know about it. You see that when they come back with questions to the judge. A lot of the times in cases, they'll ask questions of the judge And those questions will be on certain instructions the judge has given them. So they will endeavor to follow the judge's instructions.
Good.
Mm.
Good. I have seen
No.
that
Mm.
before.
Now,
Yeah.
this is trial number 18 I have covered on my channel, so
Well, then
I'm
you've seen
starting.
it.
I'm starting to get a grasp of it. Now, I have on occasions seen or heard. You have the Murdoch case, for instance. Where something really strange happened in that jury room. And I also, via a friend of mine in Florida, have contact with. She runs a company who does jury investigations after a verdict to see, okay, is there any improprieties that reaches the level? Can this be reported? And as she said, there are always some, but few go to that level. So she has had, I believe, over 70 such investigations. And she's seen in all of them some, but that might be like they didn't answer something in the questionnaire slightly incorrect, but it didn't affect the actual outcome. To write out taking money to reach a verdict. So she's seen it all. And hopefully that reached the level or few and far in between.
Yeah, and I don't know if our juror questionnaire in this case was, I want to say 45 pages.
Oh, wow.
It took quite a while to fill out, and
Wow.
I don't know if that was ever public. The actual questionnaire. This case is so long, and that was literally 2 years ago that we put that questionnaire together. So I don't remember if that questionnaire was public or not, but it was detailed. We asked a lot of questions.
I must say I haven't looked for it, so I don't know if it is public yet, but I
Yeah.
would assume
I don't know if it was a public filing. I'm not really sure about that. If I find out it's public and you're interested, I can share that with you guys.
If
I
would be glad to, but that for me that is something for after a possible verdict.
Yes.
To go through. But yeah, I would love to have it. I would love to. One thing that I would spend money on would be the transcripts from the sidebars, especially under Glanville.
The sidebars are not as juicy as people would like to believe. I mean, it's not like it's at a Bull Durham where we get up there and discuss, the best place for sushi on this weekend. But I mean, I can see that. Of course, you want to see the sidebars because you want to know what was going on when you couldn't watch. I guess I would want to see the sidebars too.
Yeah. Now, there's especially one I really want, and that is when Mr. Steele had his outburst. Again, because Miss Love, in order to get Judge Glanville to look at the video, she misrepresented what was in that video. I think that was back in May, I want to say. And that part, I would. Oh.
Well, there were quite a few misrepresentations made by members of the prosecution team over the course of this case.
Yeah, and if this, God forbid, ever goes to some kind of an appeal.
Oh, cheers, Nick! I see your beer, so this requires me to.
Cheers!
Cheers! Ganbei, skål, skål,
skål! Na zdrowie.
Sorry, Empress Fox. This is a beer. This is a beer inside the line video.
God forbid there would be an appeal. I mean, I can't imagine how many. Because I've been talking to Steve Gosney. He is a death certificate appellate lawyer in Florida, and appeals are hard to write, especially if there are many. And This trial, I mean, you often get, if I understand correctly, you have page limits on your appeal, and I'm not entirely sure how that would go through with literal, probably hundreds of instances. I mean, we have, to my count, 50 motions of mistrial, if you count in renewed motions. Those
Well,
alone.
I'm a firm believer that whether it's art, and maybe Empress Fox can speak to this, whether it's art or law, constraints drive creativity. They drive the creativity in general. Constraints drive creativity. And in law, they force you to focus on what's important. Because when I've done appeals, and I haven't done criminal appeals, I've only done civil. But when I've done appeals, yes, you might have in any given case 10 or 20 issues for appeal, maybe 5 or 8 really good ones. But the reality is you only want to focus on a few.
Yeah.
So these type of page limit constraints, word limit constraints, I think they're good. Because imagine if we appealed half the appealable issues. You'd have briefs that ran to 1,000 pages.
Yeah.
And no appellate court could deal with that. What do you think about creativity and constraints, Empress Fox?
I think that it makes you, let me rephrase that. I know that it makes you use another part of your brain, that little part of your brain that you normally don't tap into, because now you have expand, and sometimes quickly, depending on the circumstances, right? So those constraints, I will say way back when, I used to not like those because I felt like I was being put in a box. But sometimes that box makes you better, if that makes any sense. That's
Yeah. I mean, I think of them less as a box than how do I put it? Like certain walls that force you to go in certain direction, and they may take you out of your comfort zone.
absolutely.
And then being placed out of your comfort zone really makes you be creative, I think.
Yep.
So now that we've gone down that sidetrack, but I wanted to tap into Empress Fox's expertise here.
It makes
I must admit, I mean, art in itself can make you better, because for the first 10 years of my career, I was good. Then I got a tip from a real veteran over here. You need to start reading poetry. You need to get your words correct, because it's different words on paper than when you sound it out.
absolutely.
So after 10 years, I started to read poetry just to get rhythm, to get better words, better formulations. And I must say, using art makes you better.
Yeah, I mean, I really, when I write I don't know if you've seen some of the motions I filed, but when I do motions in this court and draft various briefs, I'm not doing it the same way I would in federal court in a civil suit, which does tend to be a lot drier. And I feel hamstrung by that. I feel here in a criminal case in front of superior court and state court, I can be a lot more creative, and I try to grab the attention of the reader. I try to paint pictures whenever I can. I try to use allusions and comparisons to things people can understand. And I want to write in a language that not just the judge can read and understand, but that the public can read and understand.
Very, very eloquent, you right.
Thank you. But part of this, there is a appellate court judge here who I really admire named Judge Dillard. And he is a big believer, from what I can tell, of writing in a plain English style, the elimination of legalese. I won't swear to this, but I believe he's one of these people that likes to put citations in footnotes instead of within the body of the paragraph, so that when you read it, as a layperson, you can read it and not have all these weird things. Like as a lawyer, when we read it and all these citations are in there, our eyes can kind of skip over that
Yeah.
and read it and make it make sense. But I know it reads as gibberish if you're not a lawyer.
Hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah, I've been reading a few the briefs on my streams, and it always okay. That is the line. Okay, here comes the citation, and I just start with this law, yada yada, and then I move on.
Yeah, of course.
Mm.
Of course.
As over there.
I know I had one paragraph that I wrote at about 6 a.m. sitting at Chick-fil-A, where I was trying to convince this judge who had just taken over the case to declare a mistrial with prejudice. And I analogized the case to an old broken, a house that you have purchased in hopes of refurbishing. And I was explaining, like, every time you tear off a strip of wallpaper, you find more rotted board behind it. And that's what this case was. And I tried to paint that colorful picture. And that's, I guess, some of the writing I'm most proud of in this case. That's what I'm always going for. I usually don't succeed, but sometimes I think I hit it.
Yeah, you had I believe it was a 4 or 5 word footnote when you replied to.
That was do you know what Book is talking about, Empress Fox?
We've read so many.
I know. So there was a motion that was filed by the prosecution. It cited no law in the motion whatsoever.
I remember
It was
that.
basically a paragraph, and it said, make them stop doing 403 motions for waste of time. Tell them they can no longer do that. And I had such incredible disdain for this motion that really a professional, maybe what most 45 out of 46 lawyers would tell you, don't even respond to it. But the more I read it, I felt it needed a response. And I wrote a rather snarky, somewhat unprofessional response.
Oh,
And I think she had titled the motion this ridiculously long setting of the motion. And so
I have
think
it
my
here.
footnote, what was my footnote, was something like, wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, I have it here, and here is normally a header to a motion should be short. And she writes, opposition to state's motion
No,
in limine
opposition
to
was
allow the
mine.
state to present all relevant evidence to the jury and to deny defendant's objections to the presentation of relevant evidence on the basis that said evidence is a quote-unquote waste of time. That is more or less an exact quote of, I believe it was even Fannie Willis who wrote it.
I don't know who wrote it. I don't know who signed. I believe Adrian Love's signature was on there somewhere.
Yeah. And here, footnote 1. And then you go near, go, wow, that is really a mouthful.
That was.
This it was an insane motion. I'll tell you why it was an insane motion. You're asking the judge to rule after the judge has repeatedly upheld the defense's 403 objections over and over and over again. So the judge clearly believes the state is wasting time. And then you're filing a motion saying, don't ever let them raise a 403 waste of time objection again. It's like, read the damn room.
Have you ever seen,
go ahead.
Have you seen that before? Like, have you ever seen a prosecutor say, hey, can you stop them?
Well, I have seen motions where a party is raising frivolous motions repeatedly that are being overruled, and they're just doing it to break up the flow. And so you might request a judge to order them to just stop it.
Mm.
I've not seen one where
Oh,
Oh, dog, your phone is drunk.
oh,
Uh,
yeah.
uh, okay. Dog will return.
Yes, he will.
Now, this is the motion, and it was Fannie Willis. No, it was Adrian Love. Motion eliminate to allow the state to present all relevant evidence to the jury and to deny defendant objections to the presentation of relevant evidence on the basis that said evidence is a waste of time. The
I
state of yeah, and
when I saw this, I think all of us were like flabbergasted. Sometimes I think she does these things for the wow factor of it all.
yeah,
Because though they're on television, and sometimes I think that I'm like, this is theatrics, you know. But this whole, yeah,
mm,
that's crazy.
yeah, and her headline is probably longer
The
than
ocean.
the actual motion. Let, for fancy, let's have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 37 words. Now, this is not a part of the motion. The
Right.
state of Georgia, yada yada yada.
all right.
Hello
I'm
again.
sorry. You know what's
Yeah.
happening is I'm getting phone calls and then it's getting all messed up. So I put the focus on do not disturb. No, all I was saying is, as a lawyer in court, I don't know if you heard this part, the currency of the realm is credibility. It's all you have. So I will not file a motion that I absolutely know it's going to be denied because I've just
Right.
blown my credibility. It's Atlanta, so I just got a huge whiff of pot coming across my table.
Yeah, we are trying here to see if the headline is longer than the actual motion. And there are 37 words in the headline. And if you cut out the standard parts, which is not
Yeah.
part, one,
We call
two,
that the
three, four.
style of the motion. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to drop off. I promise I'm going to be back in just a minute. I
Okay.
promise.
No. Yep. Thank you. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Oh no. Oh no. The motion is 38 words long. And the headline is 37.
She may have written on the way home, and that's all she felt like she had to say was.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that she does, or the way she does it, like me finding out, or most of us finding out that the you know whats weren't even a part of the drinks unaliving, but they presented it in such a way on Wednesday that you would have thought that everything they were presenting was in condition to the unaliving, and that's I think that's sick and manipulative. If you just as a layperson, that's how I'm like, why would you do that? And it's obvious to confuse the jury.
Definitely.
Because I that it had to do with the entire situation, only to find out that that was from the raid.
Let's go some of these. So I don't. Last Friday, I spent an hour and a half reading
Oh
stuff.
wow!
Yeah, after everybody left. So I'm trying to catch up now. Last Friday was insane.
I can only imagine.
You're a lot calmer today. Please be insane again, chat. Thank you, Brandon. Iron Rabbit gifted memberships. Thank you so much. Tracy Fagan, is that Bigfoot? Well, we saw a Sasquatch in one frame of that video. And not so. Ando, thank you so much. Mr. Weinstein seller's advocacy is a credit to the legal profession. Glat. Chloe's and he's back.
Sorry. That's yeah.
Yeah. You're almost famous. You're almost famous.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So anyway, what are y'all talking about? What did I miss?
The headline was 37 words long. The motion was 38 words long.
We call that the style of the motion, I believe, in the U.S.
Yeah, well, or lack thereof.
I mean, I don't know what could have been going through the drafter's head. I don't know. I just don't know.
Are you supposed to add case law to your motions, or at least some sort of additional context?
You know, if you are going to ask for a dramatic remedy, like never let them raise this evidentiary issue again, you better find some case law for the site. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you better find something. I mean, look, I'll give you an example. I had a motion I really wanted to file in the summer, having to do with Diamante Kendrick's interviews. And I thought by all measure that I was right. But I could not find any case law that supported my position. So I didn't file the motion because I was going to lose. And I'm not going to burn up. When a judge looks at a motion from me, I want them to think, you know what, when Doug files a motion, it's usually got pretty good support that I should at least consider it. I don't want him to think, oh, here comes another, crappy motion that I have to deal with. I want to have credibility.
Definitely. I mean, write
Well-
something in effect, and you will write the best thing you will ever regret. And always have somebody check your work. Somebody
Yes.
who is not scared to tell you, oh, hell no.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the hardest part about when you practice. I don't practice on my own, but I do a lot of this case on my own. Where you don't have another lawyer to bounce things off of. So Katie Hingerty in my office, I will bounce things off of. When I was working on all those disqualification motions and briefs to the Georgia Supreme Court, I had Katie Hingerty, and she was there to give me a sanity check. You need someone to do that.
Yeah, and I must say I am blessed in my office that I was taught by the first few years by an amazing civil attorney, Mr. Anderson. And then about 15 years in, I got a new boss. She was younger than me. She was this short blonde, and nobody expected her to be a shark. Oh hell! Oh, she was. Oh, she was. And I learned so much from her. We worked so good together because every time we walked into a negotiation together, everybody assumed I was leading. And she sat back while I started to do my thing. And then when they went comfortable, she took over. And that's which we won so much with that.
Wow.
Class E beats. For $50, I would like to request that Doug or Nick read this super chat word for word. The states need to get it together because these.
No. Now, look, I'm going to speak on this. I've already said something once tonight on this. I'm going to speak on this. I think this whole thing about the judge reading that should go away because I know I do not, as a white person, I do not have the right to absolve her of this sin. But she immediately after the break, I don't think she realized she had done it. She'd never seen it before. She comes back immediately after break, clearly realizing, I'm sure she thought, oh my God, what did I do? She apologizes. She explains how it happened. And I don't know what more she could do.
No. Yeah.
She's been very careful to not do that before, but there's a lot of inwards in this stuff we're dealing with.
Oh yeah.
And
Now.
for the most part, she hasn't stumbled until today.
Yeah.
So I would love it if people forgive her. Shannon's like, you heard what Shannon said. I think that if the mics picked it up,
Yeah.
where he said it's okay, Your Honor, or something to that effect.
Mm.
So
Yeah. Yeah, and I've seen a bunch on social media, but I also seen pushback to people trying to make it an issue, and that from well, I can't speak for anybody but myself, but many from the Black community are pushing back towards making this an issue.
I mean, what else do you want her to do?
Tell you why there was pushback though.
I'm
So,
sorry, Empress Fox. Well, yeah, what should she have done?
a lot of people felt like the attorneys and the state, a lot of times when you guys, but like you said, Doug, you guys have seen it multiple times, so you're ready and aware that it's coming. So as we seen, with Steele, he'll skip over words, or HE double hockey sticks and all those different things, right? But this word is something that, and I understand she was reading it quickly, and I forgave her. I know the rest of the community feels like I should have done that, but it was the honest mistake. I personally feel that way. But I personally feel like, and a lot of people felt like after she said it, she should have heard herself. But my excuse for her, and there's no excuse, and everybody can say what they would like to me, but she was frustrated. If anybody leading up to that, she frustrated with the state that at that point she's reading it for them. She was like, this is what it said. Like, she was just trying to get it out. I don't think that it was on purpose. I do appreciate her apology though. She caught up with it, and I don't know if it's because she saw the flack online, because social media, as you guys know, has gone crazy. It's almost every headline right now on all the blogs and things of that nature. But I don't think she did it purposely, but I understand where people are coming from. Where as a judge, you have to be very cautious with how you're received and perceived. And when it comes to such a case as this that may have those words in there, I think maybe you should, take a step or two to read first and then read aloud. But as I said, I think she was just frustrated because of the way, as the juror would say, that the state was presenting their evidence to her for argument, personally.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot of horrible language in this case.
Yeah.
I mean, just misogynistic language, racist language, or the N word at least.
I was going to say.
God, I don't want to get into that whole thing, but and the misogyny is just, at least as far as the lyrics goes, it can be off the charts.
But I mean, I come from the heavy metal scene. Lyrics. Yep, there can be some interesting. I mean, 70s and 80s rock lyrics, not the sweetest ones when it comes to that effect. But I think when we look at the trial setting, what I at least try to do is remove the person from the position, because there's a judge there. Earlier it was one person, now it's another person. There's a difference between them, and after a few years there will be new judges, but the seat remains. And try to see it as the position without the person. And I think sometimes you can get further with that without applying too much to the person who currently sits there.
I think that this is an issue that neither Nick or I have really, I don't know what the right word is, but I don't know that we should even weigh in on it.
I mean,
it's not really, I mean.
I never had pushback. I mean, once or twice in a year and a half, I had some pushback. You can talk about this because my perplexion. But as I say, this here is 1,000 years of successful Scandinavian inbreeding. You don't get more. I'm comically white. Shockingly Caucasian.
Well, I can tell you that. Let me think if this is right. I think I get slightly offended when people that aren't Jewish tell me what the definition of anti-Semitism is or is not. So I don't want to be put in the position of deciding whether people should be offended or whatever about her, clearly accidental use of that word. I'm glad she apologized. But I'm not the person that has the right to say you are absolved of that or to
That
weigh in on it.
back from the energy we had this morning,
Yeah.
her apology. Let me tell you. And it was just, it's very interesting because I kept saying intent matters, right? And then in my perspective, that'd be everybody else's perspective, but intent matters. And it's not like she said the hard R. It's not like she was reading what was in front of her face, and someone that made it make sense to me. It was just like, well, for the record, she needed to make a clean record. I don't really know legalese, so I don't 100% know what that means. But in that sense, it made sense. And I don't think that it's a big deal. I think it was just definitely a gotcha moment or a woke the F moment, and it wasn't purposeful. I understand energy, and it's not like you said, she's gone this whole trial without saying. You guys have read lyrics before. You guys have had the videos up there before. And I think at this point, it's one of those logical things and not an emotional thing. But again, that's my personal.
I mean, the difference between me and her, maybe one reason, hold on a second. I'm going to do this to try to get a better view. Okay, I'm going to try this in. Oh my gosh, that works better. I think the difference between me and her is that when I'm reading lyrics that have that in it, I am very prepared for it, right? Because it's often my exhibit or it's an exhibit of the state that I know is coming in. I know the discovery. I'm privy to it before it's entered at trial. I've been looking at it forever. So I'm aware, okay, I've got some language coming up and I've got to prepare for it. Whereas if you're a judge, you haven't seen the discovery, you don't know what's thrown at her. And she was honest when she said, this is the first time she's, read that Instagram post or whatever it was. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd like for folks to put it behind them, but, and I also know she has some baggage because I've seen the comments. I don't live with my head stuck in the sand. And I know that there are people that believe that she has bias against the African-American attorneys that were in the room. And I've seen that criticism. And I'm not going to weigh in on that one either. But I know, so there's people that believe that she has that bias, rightfully or wrongly. And then so when she does something that confirms their belief, it's going to blow up. And I'm sure it did.
Now,
but, I'm always asking to give people grace.
Yeah. Now, we have a question for you here from Hiram. Doug, did you get a chance to watch Mr. Steele's oral argument regarding Blaylock? I have a feeling that conviction will be reversed after his argument and the way the justices responded.
He made that argument. I believe we were in court, so I didn't see it. And I didn't watch it at night or weekend or whatever, because the reality is, since all of those other defendants pled out, our workload has increased. Because not only do we now have to defend issues related to our clients, incidents related to our clients, but any incidents not related to our clients that are overt acts in the case that Brian Steele may have handled, or Keith Adams, or the Matthews, now we have to deal with them, or Steve Williams, or perhaps Bruce, although he didn't really have any. Anyway, we have to pick up those pieces. So I'm just too busy to have watched it.
Yeah, I got the question in an earlier stream. Do I, if I thought that the prosecution got an edge over you? And my answer was, I'm not sure if the prosecution have an edge, but you do have a bigger workload than before. But I'm not so sure if it means that the prosecution has an edge, because it's still the evidence that matters. And in my opinion, the evidence Yeah, as I said about the bad Santa cowboy cop who testified yesterday, his tunnel vision must be the size of a toilet roll
Yes.
and
Yeah.
has basically the same. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you tell me if they have an edge. They have far more resources at
Oh.
their disposal than I do, far more.
Mm.
They're more experienced in criminal law than I personally am.
Mm.
They have kind of a first mover advantage in the sense that they spent years putting this case together before the indictment.
Mm.
And then we have to catch up and get up to speed on it. So in many ways, in any criminal case, the defendant is at a disadvantage. Even, I mean, when we had the resource, I mean, you have the resources of Jeffrey Williams, and you have a team of Keith Adams and Brian Steele. That is a tremendous resources that you can fight back against the state.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess they have an advantage. I would say structurally, and in terms of resources, they have an advantage. But I don't. I have a lot of experience. It may not be criminal, but I've been litigating for over 25 years, so I have experience, and I have passion and commitment and focus and investment that perhaps they don't have. And I'd like to think that drives me to do a better job. What do you think, Empress Fox?
I would say so. I'm not in your shoes, but from the outside in, I think they may have had, but they no longer have. That's what I think in regards to that.
Okay. Well, now, guys, I do have to go for good.
I have a few of these super chats for you.
Hit me with those before I leave, and then I will jump out.
Mr. Weinstein, seller's advocacy is a credit for the legal profession. And Wheelhammer, what's the over-under on Doug having a beer pong set up nearby?
If you watched my cross regarding the photos taken at Jeffrey Williams' house, where I failed to identify the triangular setup of solo cups as a beer pong setup, then you should definitely go under, because I did not recognize that as beer pong. That postdates my fraternity life.
Then from Chrissy, when the USC football game should make for some great Doug/Max roasting. Grateful for all three of you.
Yes, Max's football team plays my football team tomorrow at 4:15. I'm going to be with Max to console him afterward. And let's all, when Max's team loses, I hope everyone is there for Max to comfort him.
Course tomorrow online during the game?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you because the music just got crazy loud where I am.
I said, is that there going to be discourse tomorrow on Twitter that we on during the game?
We're trash talk. I'm trash talking him. He is refusing to trash talk back because he knows he doesn't want that retweeted after his team goes down. They're now 6-point favorites, by the way.
Then I have Sue, who asks, Doug, where's the watch?
More to come. Stay tuned.
Oh, God.
I have theories.
JT asks, Doug, did you see your client get cuffed?
When?
I'm not sure.
I have seen video of my client being cuffed when he was arrested at Jeffrey Williams' house. But that video has not been played in court. I don't believe it will be played in court.
Yeah, yesterday I found it interesting that the photos of the suspects were shown with them handcuffed in the back of the cop car. I found that interesting, and wait a minute here, prejudicial towards, because all they were going to be shown was, look here, the clothes.
Well, the U.S. is we're the home of the perp walk. where they arrest
Mm.
folks and parade them in front of reporters. Even though I think that's a horrible thing that risks biasing the jury pool, they still do that. Just like they hold press conferences following indictment and arrest, which also has the potential to pollute the jury pool. I have spoken out, but I have only done it after the jury was selected and instructed to not follow the news or watch social media about the trial. And the state does not do that prior to the trial commencing.
Yeah. One thing that I've seen in several trials is you always see the press conferences from the state and everything, but as soon as trial starts, you more or less get a gag order on what you're allowed to say in press conferences. And then
Yes, the state is not really, the state is under far more restrictions than the defense is when it comes to speaking up at trial. And there's a reason for that. Well, part of the reason for that is that defendants can rarely afford to hire PR firms. And I need to be out there advocating for my client in the court of public opinion, just as the state sullied his reputation by arresting him and putting him on trial. So I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah, but I've also seen the opposite where, for instance, in the Delphi trial, that defense got a gag order.
Oh, yeah. They tried to put a gag order on me. They failed, which only made me speak out more.
Yeah. Sometimes it has that effect. And then finally from H. Socks, Doug, make sure the state don't ask for Leon Packer to not be filmed. He's on fire, 48. Keep going. We have your back.
Thank you very much for the heads up on that. I appreciate it. I tried to use that against Gaither, and I only lost that because the previous judge had allowed Gaither to not be put on video. So, but if I think it would have been Gaither's first time on the stand, because Gaither had frequently appeared on First 48, I would have won that.
Yeah, definitely. And there are so many in this trial that are allowed to not be shown to the audience. I'm never seen that, especially with testifying cops who I can understand if they are currently undercover or are in an undercover position. I understand that, but I've seen so many trials where the cops are proud to be there. They want to show their face.
Yeah. Well, so, if the order from Judge Glanville was if there was some danger to them, or it was worded a little broader than that, then they would not be shown. And when the state has given me, all I've asked for from the state is give me a good reason, and I will not object to them not being shown. And when they fail to give me a good reason, I object. When they give me no reason, which is often the case, I object. If I object and they come back to me later with a good reason, I will withdraw my objection, which I did just this week. So I'm not unreasonable. I'm not here to risk public safety. But trials are supposed to be open. So if you don't want it to be open, give me a reason. And this trial is open, technically, because even when a witness is not shown on video, people are not prevented from coming into court and seeing that witness. They're just not televised broadly.
Yeah, that thing. I so admire the states in the US that has this openness, because more light should be shown on trials, because if the mainstream media was the only outlet for the information, I mean, for instance, I go towards the Delphi trial with this, where there are no cameras, and the transcript will, their audio will not be released until after a possible sentencing. And so all we had was mainstream media until some brave content creators decided, no, I'm going to take 6 weeks off my work and go there. So we have this alternative reporting, which is vastly different from mainstream media. And
It's a 21st century. There's no reason there shouldn't be a camera in every courtroom streaming everything, unless there's a good reason not to. It's not expensive to do. Judge McAfee up in 5A in Fulton County, he streams all of his proceedings. He has a YouTube channel. Jay Apt, who is one of Diamante Kendrick's attorneys, who I know folks loved his cross. He's going to be doing a murder trial up there starting a week from Monday. Everybody can tune into Judge McAfee's courtroom and watch it.
Yeah.
I'll remind everybody of that later next week. But it's a good thing. And we wouldn't have, well, maybe we would, but I don't think we'd have advocates doing important work like Empress Fox unless you have trials that are televised. So it enhances justice. And anytime we can enhance justice, we should do so. It's a no-brainer, right?
Exactly. I agree. November 21st, I'm going to get off just like Doug, and I'm sorry, Nick.
Yeah.
I got
Aw.
to make
God
dinner.
bless you, Empress Fox, and the work you're doing. Thank
Thank
you, Nick,
Yeah.
for having me on.
Thank you
And I
for
will see
being
you
here.
guys later.
Yeah,
All right.
and now one question: do you honestly
There's always
believe?
one more question, Nick.
Yeah,
Bye, guys. Thank you.
lawyers. Always one. Do you really believe this trial is over by Christmas?
Yes,
Oh,
this trial will be over by New Year's.
okay.
I think we will have closing arguments in a month.
Oh,
I was about to press the exit button,
well,
but
I'm
Free the
happy for
jurors.
you. I'm happy for the clients. I'm happy, but that also means because I have 0 vacation days until next year.
You're Scandinavian. You probably have 100 vacation days a year.
Yeah, starting next year. I took all of that mine off this year when I went to the States.
You know, our Puritan work ethic just does not allow that, but I'm so jealous. Okay, see
Yeah.
you guys later. Bye.
Okay, see you. Bye. Aw, they left me. They left me. Okay, but that means unless I can raise the funds for getting a week off, I can't be there for closing arguments, but I will stream from here. So, I'm so happy Doug showed up. I'm so happy that Empress Fox showed up. I got from Kat that she is trying to put life back together. Well, sadly she was busy. She could not make it. Now, let's go through all of this. Brandon, let's go. Can we talk about Peanut the squirrel? Yes, justice for Peanut. It is absolutely insane that the government can show up at a home with 10 federal agents, grab your pets, euthanize them, and get away with it. Have they nothing better to do than to kill a squirrel and Peanut the squirrel and Frank the raccoon? And thank you, Iron Rabbit, for gifting 5 memberships. Tracy Fagan, is that Bigfoot? Yes, it was. We saw it. We all saw it. In one frame, in one of the prosecution's evidence, we saw Bigfoot. He's right there. I assure you, I did not use any AI or Photoshop skills. Oh, not so, Ando. Thank you. Mr. Weinstein, seller's advocacy is a credit for the legal profession. I agree. Thank you. Elbert's revenge. We aren't the ones mocking anything. The state pretending the world is stupid and acting like whole vehicles doesn't exist is offensive. I completely agree. Steph JK, till they're all free. Yeah, we need to cover this case. watch the Law and C-Word, Law and Crime stream, or the 11 Alive stream, or Fox 5 News stream. Watch me, watch Kat, watch anyone who cover this case, so the numbers keeps this issue going, even if Mr. Williams is now home on probation. Shadigi, thank you so much. Clat! Wilhelmer Media is an excellent content creator. He does audio enhancing of trials, current trials, old trials. So, for instance, if you are thinking about doing what I do, cover trials, but you need to start somewhere, go to Wilhelm Media's channel. There he has lots of trials with good sound that you can start with to get yourself warmed up before you, boom, here's the trial I want to cover. So everybody go subscribe to Wilhelm Media and watch his stuff. Chrissy with the Vandy US football game. Thank you so much. Cat Not Williams, gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Shadigi, Empress, can we do the protest at the McDonald's? Oh, no, she left before I saw that. I'm so sorry, Shadigi. Thank you for your support. Oh, the protest at McDonald's. That would be funny. That would be so funny. And then go in and ask for a copy of the surveillance. And then Sue with Doug, where's the watch? And yeah, he didn't say anything conclusive, but he did say something. And then JT, Doug, did you see your client get cuffed? Yeah, but well, he's seen the videos. And then Classy Beats, thank you so much for your very generous super chat. Saying, I would like to request that Doug or Nick reads this super chat word for word. The state needs to get it together because these wild in. Have a great show, guys. Thank you so much. I will not say that word. I will not say that word. Frandrew P. Diddy, it's the ease at which she said it. She was just reading the word. A quote. So please, let's leave it behind because she is probably the best judge for these guys right now. David, you know, she sings thug lyrics at the top of her voice when alone in the car. She might. Then Hiren's super chat, thank you. Doug, did you get the chance to watch Mr. Steele's argument regarding Blaylock? He didn't. But I do agree here. The way they did ask questions, but what was absolutely hilarious was when the state's representative barely got his name out before he was hounded by the judges. That was amazing to see. I streamed that one live. You can see it on a stream here a few days ago. Classy Beats, I agree it was inappropriate, maybe. Was it wrong? I don't think so. She was reading it, and I think people should give her a break. Salute to the panel. Thank you so much. Chloe Albert's Revenge. I invite any of you to join me in my car for a DMX sing-along. Oh, thank you. I thank you for your invite. I can't make it. I need to wash my hair. Andrew W, because Empress Fox is hot with the signs there. Oh, she is a looker. She is a looker. Chrissy, the overt act of the orange bandana. Thank you, Chrissy. 8 socks, Doug. Make sure the state doesn't act for Leon Packer to not be filmed. He's on fire. 48. Keep going. We have your back. Yeah, thank you. And then finally, Chloe Albert's Revenge again. The only way the state will have an edge is if Ford has a sales on trucks this weekend. Oh, wow. Oh. All right, folks. My usual Friday panel shows are 3 hours long. Now it's just you and me here. You and me here. And I think with your generosity, you have earned your right to the picker wheel. The wheel of regrets. Oh, Beesis, do you have? Why don't you push Cash App, Venmo, and the other money apps? I have PayPal. I can't have the others because I'm not based in US. That's why. That's why. But I do have PayPal, and yes, they do take a much lower cut than YouTube. Much lower. I have pinned it in the top of the chat. Casper, where's Mr. Jingles? Mr. Jingles is fast asleep over there in the bedroom. In the bedroom. But as I said, you guys have been so generous. So generous. So it is time. It is time. For the Wheel of Regrets! One more. What? Oh, frick. I have one slot of habanero sauce, and of course, it landed on that one. Okay, here's the hot sauce. Where is my spoon? Where's my spoon? I had a spoon here not that long ago. Where's my spoon? I need to get a spoon. I will be playing. Hold on, I'll get a spoon and you listen to
Thug out the clink, chains clatter on the floor. Car dreams become real, freedom's at the door. Low Mike Quest, squad rolling deep with the raw concrete. Jumping pain, lives change forevermore. Eyes wide, feel the breeze, taste of liberty. No cuff, no lock, pure visibility. Corner block, street, up street credibility. Twilight turned dark, pure versatility. React letters, chains undone. Caught behind, out of the slums. Victory chant lights the gun. Thumbs rebirth, bright sun.
All right, habanero sauce. Here it is. Shaky, shaky. Let's see here. Habanero sauce, spoon. Cheers. I swear that sauce keeps getting. Okay, am I still muted? Oh. Oh. Yeah, my microphone has started to untag itself. I don't know why. I swear to you, this damn sauce must be fermenting because it's getting hotter for each time. Hiding that choice. Oh. Oh. Wow. Ah. Ooh. Whew, okay, I'm back. My mouth is on fire. I won't puke. Oh, okay, you had some questions here. What style of beer is popular in Sweden? Usually lager, but I like more IPAs. Oh. Huh. Oh, wow. Yeah, obviously, the favorite beer in Sweden is probably the cheapest one. All right, folks. Oh. With Cat not coming, my two guests have left. I did the hot sauce. Thanks to your generosity. And tomorrow I will do a catch-up stream because I didn't do the entire day today and half of Wednesday. So I will do a recap tomorrow, starting around 10 a.m. maybe. Okay. All right, folks. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up time after time. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support to Doug, Max, the other content creators. Keep watching. The numbers you give me, other content creators, law and crime, and the others is what keeps the camera in that courtroom. So keep it up, folks. Keep it up. And remember, folks, hug your family. Unless your family is crap, then screw them and give your love to the people who deserve it. Okay? See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.